Hey everyone, Kane here and welcome to another video of Art of Conquest. In this one we will continue talking about heroes and cover rows. So, there are a couple of builds with this particular hero. The only one that we will talk about in this video is going to be the more commonly used buffer slash debuffer build. And debuffer in terms of her potential 50. So, if you don't have potential 50, you don't even want to place her on the field because she's not going to provide you with almost anything that would be relevant for that amount of spaces used for her. So we're going to touch deeper on that in just a second, but like always, we start from the equipment. So we have a few choices in terms of stat. So the first choice is the tag ability. Like quite a few heroes can or should even put the tag ability. I think most people should have at the very least like 2 or 3 tags per battle, as that is kind of important. The second can be the command staff. There are a couple of them, and there are staffs which grant even a little bit less command, but they're easier to obtain. What command does is it upgrades some of her abilities in terms of summons. There are more summons. They do a little bit better. And of course, the more summons you have, the more debuffs you're able to proc on the field. And less likely they just disappear from any random damage. Or at the very least, one might survive and proc a debuff that your mages would easily use and do a lot more damage. I mean, a lot of nuances and like into that. And of course, you can try using some DPS stabs. Now, the thing about DPS is I don't think she does a ton of damage without a specific build. So I'm not sure if just going for a DPS staff might be the best idea. In a debuff buff slash case, but I mean, in terms of stats, if you're focusing them, this one might be better. The thing is, I kind of stopped focusing on stats or winning on stats. For me, that is no longer the case in terms of winning fights. Sure, that 30% might actually be good, but that kind of requires to make almost your entire field a lot weaker. For a chance for that to happen, and I kind of decided to stop doing that. So, tome. The only tome I actually found useful is attack speed. I don't think I found anything else that useful, but if you want a little bit more command, you can swap 2 magic for 2 command or stuff like that in terms of these books. Aside from that, the helmet or the headpiece. Now, as you can see that on many heroes, I place the feathered cap, simply because you gain a shield worth of 10% of the wearer's HP every 12 seconds. Shields can stack, and it can proc like 5 times in 1 minute. We only do this for the shield. We don't really care for physical damage, or I don't really care for physical damage. This is not why I put the shield on. I only care about survivability of that particular hero. And there is no better cap that will defend this particular hero or many other heroes than this one. Yes, of course, it grants smite and a little bit of magic. Yeah, there are equipments which grant a ton more stats and whatever, but it doesn't grant survivability for that particular hero. And that is the reason why I kind of dropped some of those, winning on stats or whatever BS. Because it made a lot of my buffers a lot weaker. So I kind of just went for a double whammy with the cap and of course the trinket. So in terms of robe, there are 2 choices here. One of those choices is outgoing control effects last 20% longer, which is one of her abilities in terms of the lingering death. So she roots 3 nearby enemies for 3 seconds, so 20%, this turns to 3.6. I'm not sure if this does actually work. Like, I didn't hold my timer and I didn't count how long the root lasted. So I'm just going by the description and assuming that it does actually work. The second robe is the Netherworld robe for command. At flawless, this grants 19 command, and again, command upgrades some of her abilities. For trinkets, as you can see, and as I said before, magic resistance 30%. What's better than resistances? Even more resistances. You want your buffers to survive for as long as possible. Arcanate and mages and whatever do a lot of damage beyond the front line, and that is why you want to get a lot of magic resistance. If you are already not like focusing on winning on stats, you might as well put in these buffing, say, trinkets, which will help you survive a little bit longer. Yes, there are nuances where this might not be incredibly helpful, like early game, maybe mid game or whatever, but the further you go, people win battles just because heroes die. And if heroes die, you lose prism effects, you lose aura effects, you lose everything, and pretty much stuff starts dying. So it's better if things don't die and try to stay alive for as long as possible, which is something that I'm trying to do for her. So even though this build looks literally all over the place, it actually works kind of well. Aside from that, I have Mother of Spiders +1, simply because I want more spiders on the field. More spiders on the field means potential will be granting more magic damage taken, or not more, but maybe just a tad bit more reliably. Maybe that one spider will go into the enemy backline on burst side and stuff like that. A lot of nuances, a lot of chance-based stuff, but if she survives, regardless, this buff will be procced whenever and wherever. So, in terms of artifact, the thing is, I didn't actually have anywhere else to place the codex, and I don't have anything else that might be very useful in that case. Yes, I'm not using this particular one, but from the way I place rows, nobody actually has heroes at the very center of the formation. So even this would only just add a little bit more command, but even this like adds a lot more stats. In terms of others, I don't have this leveled, and I think it would be a waste at the moment to level it, because I think there will be a free-to-play artifact, new one coming out soon. Aside from others, I think I have everything else placed on my field that is even above average sort of useful. So, since I don't use archers, right? Since I don't use archers, I kind of drop off like 4, 5, 6 artifacts that I don't require to place. So that is why I'm kind of not having any specific artifacts to place on the field. So that is why I have this, pretty much just for stats and maybe just a tad bit more damage or chip damage from the mini spiders, because of course she does more damage to summoned or poisoned units, and then of course the little spiders as well. Not sure if this is useful since we're not going for a like say a DPS build or whatever, but this is better than nothing in my own case. Of course, there are a lot better choices than this to keep the hero alive, maybe have it a little bit better of a debuffer, but there is nothing that I can put on her that will actually be better at the moment. Aside from that, a buffing prism, tier 10 robust figure, doesn't matter which one you put on. The thing is, I can't even really suggest if there is sort of an importance, because quite a lot of the times enemy spins Rufio to the middle, sometimes drags my rows away from burst side and stuff like that. So, just a buffing prism or whatever. Aside from that, summary, health and attack, this is what I have as level 68. Abilities, you want to max Mother of Spiders, Venom Explosion, and Lingering Death. Then, of course, you have to have 1 level in Toxic Touch, or if you have enough ability points, you level this. Now, if you have spiders on your field as Lich, you make this Toxic Touch level 1, you maxed out Spider Mastery, so it should be like level 7, and you can just drop down a couple of levels from Mother of Spiders, because the spiders are going to summon spiderlings which will be stronger than Rose's, and they will also have Venom Explosion. So you don't need their spiderlings or Rose's spiderlings as much as you might want to make even those spiderlings and arachnids just a tad bit tankier. So that is my suggestion. In terms of potential, a couple of choices. So if you're not running spiders, you can go for Mother of Spiders, you know, get a little bit more increase per spawn, a couple like more spiders. If you are using spiders on the field, you want the Spider Mastery. For potential 50, hands down Venom Explosion. If you don't have this, you should not even place Rose on your field, unless you're like cheesing a spider build or whatever, since I've heard that happening in early servers. So the only reason you want her is this particular potential 50. You are able to afford that, you insert Rose into your field closer to your burst side. Now, in terms of hero mastery, I don't use anything on her as far as I'm aware. In terms of how I place her, we also have to talk about that in just a second. Alright, so I found a formation. So, I did use a bronze army in Clash of Fates. So, we have Rose somewhere in the very center of the map. The thing is, I kind of wanted to push her closer to the burst side, but she is directly behind Dragon. So what happens when I face burst versus burst, people focus Avril's Arcanate in this particular spot if I don't have Rose very close. If I do move Rose just a couple of squares to the right, people no longer focus this particular side. They just go straight for killing the Rose, killing Talk, and also focusing the Avril and Valerie, as well as they also hit Gazul. So that is why I have to split them up a little bit, because too many core and good heroes that have to be alive will be under fire, and if some of them dies, a lot of buffs, debuffs are lost. And even if you kill stuff on that person's field, if you don't have enough buffs, debuffs, etc. on the field remaining, you might actually end up as a draw. So placement matters, and this is what kind of works for me at the moment. And yeah, I suppose that's pretty much it. People could argue that you can use, say, the Codex on Ophidia, but I even have a different build on Ophidia as well. So we can actually touch on that too in the next video. That is pretty much it. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you learned something new. If you did, do hit that subscribe button. It would help me out a lot. So as if you would wish to support me more than just watching my videos, I have made a Patreon page where you would be able to do just that. In return, I would be able to help you out more individually in terms of events, PvP, formations, and stuff like that. So as I would like to thank all of my patrons for the support. I really appreciate it for your subscriptions. Thank you guys so much. Thanks for watching. Take care and stay safe out there.